my name is Matt. How is everyone doing? Okay, I'm assuming then that this is everyone's first time coming to a convention. Yeah, I know there's a few exceptions here. Okay, so how many people have only ever been to stuff like the Expo, the London Film and Comic Con? Okay, small crowd. Not heard of auto before. Okay, big difference between the conventions and the expos. You're seeing this is a bigger event for fans. The conventions are run a lot by the fans, people who just enjoy what they're doing. They just enjoy the genre, they enjoy the anime, the manga, and the games, and they just pull together and they just help create this whole community that everyone can just come in, enjoy, and just have a general good time. So to find, because these are small events, you get a much smaller group of people. It's easy to just find a group of people to meet. It's easy to just meet people with similar interests into the same shows as you, rather than trying to go through like a crowd of tens of millions of people at the expo. I mean, I'm sure anyone who's been to that knows what it's like, just trying to get from A to B, and it's just make us a snail at speedy. Big difference with the conventions is you get a lot of panels going on. It's not just shops. It's not just it's not just going there and buying something and just hanging out with friends. You get a lot of panels just like this, where it's people who enjoy the stuff. They want to help with their little community, and just give people things that they will enjoy, and just and help them enjoy the weekend. I mean, you get little things like this where it's just people giving out advice, but there's plenty of panels over the weekend for people who are trying to get into cosplay, giving you loads of tips, loads of advice, and there are loads from people who just want to have a bit of fun. Plenty of panels just go in, sit down and have a laugh. And of course, when you get to the evenings, we have all the parties and the fun to have. And of course, I'm sure most of you will be going to the parties tonight, and I'm sure we'll be trying to survive in the morning. When I was speaking to people about this, first thing that was brought up was, what do you need to bring to a convention? Because you're here for a whole weekend, you're pretty much just isolated in this one spot, you've not got anywhere else to go. So what are those main things you need to bring with you? So obvious thing, toiletries. I mean, it's a constant thing. You hear people just going around covered in sweat all weekend, just looking at a complete mess. And you do want to try and make sure you're as fresh as possible every day. I mean, especially with the way the weather is being at the moment, you want to try and make sure you're looking, well, you're 100%. It's always good to bring some extra drinks, extra snacks. Worst thing that can happen is you're hanging around with your friends, you spend too much time going from one panel to another, and you just don't get enough time to sit down, have a meal, have a proper drink. So it's always a good idea to go to the supermarket. I mean, there's Nisa just outside. Is it Nisa? Costco, thank you. Just grab yourself a few snacks, just to help you there as an emergency, really. Just if you ever need a light snack just to get you by. Chargers, batteries. Most people here are going to be bringing cameras around from the weekend. And I'm sure I know there's more than enough people who bring their DSs around. So last thing you want is just to run out of power just like halfway through the day. Notepads. Thankfully they've provided us with some in Ayacon pads, I'm sure you've noticed. When you go around the convention, you're going to meet a lot of new people, and you may not have the time to remember the names. So it's always a good idea to just note down like a badge name, like a website perhaps, just so you can keep yourself involved with communities. So it gives you a good idea of places to go if you want to stay in touch. Medications. I think, well, this is talking from experience, but you're going to end up in some amount of pain at some point, whether it's too much drink, poor, ill-fitting costumes, it's always a good idea to have just some general medication just to help you out in the evening. And of course, spare clothes. You can't guarantee that your clothes are going to stay good for the whole weekend. Bring plenty of extra clothes just so you can keep fresh. Additionally, for those of you coming in cosplay this weekend, always a good idea to bring the sewing kit with you, because you never know when accidents can happen. You never know when parts are going to break. And apparently stuff like safety pins, like duct tape, little bits and pieces that can... Works.
Want glue gun if we've got the money.
Yeah, that would be excellent actually. It's always good to bring little bits and pieces just in case anything ever breaks. Okay, so just some general advice for the weekend. First things first, especially for those who can be spending a lot of time in the dealer's room, it's always a good idea to set yourself a budget. First time I came to a convention, I took about 200 quid with me. That was spent on the first day. Yeah, it's always a good idea to know what you're going to buy, try and set yourself a budget for each day. Save yourself having to make an emergency withdrawal. Set aside your time to get some food and drink. Again, I say get some snacks, but it's always just try and get some time for a full proper meal. I mean, you can get snacks might help you, but there's nothing beating a proper, just proper sit down and a meal for me. The con guide. So you've all just seen that in your bags. That is pretty much essential to read to know what you want to do over the weekend. They've already laid out the schedule for all the events, all the shows that are on. Look through that, make plans for what you want to see. Save yourself having to run around from one place to another when it gets too late. Shoes. This will be especially true for cosplays. If you're going to be spending a lot of time in uncomfortable clothes, it's a good idea to bring something that's just comfy to wear, just easy on your feet. Save yourself getting too much pain for the whole weekend. Okay, this last one was probably my own personal advice, but the dealer's room, you're going to get a lot of people queuing up straight away, and you'll probably see for the first half hour it's just around 100 people so waiting to get in. Personally, I would say if you give it half an hour, maybe an hour tops, that queue will die down, you can get straight in without a problem. And some other little things are gophers. I'm sure you'll see some people running around like headless chickens throughout the day, just trying to help people out. These are people who are taking their own time just to help out over the weekend, much like the people who are just running the event itself. They're always looking for people who are willing to help, who just want to put some time aside. And if you feel you'd be able to help out in any way, feel free to speak to people who run the convention, because they would be happy to have any help. Same with panels. As I've said, a lot of the panels here are run by people who just want to help out, who are just here to give their own little slice of life. And there's no harm in trying to have your own panel run throughout the weekend. I mean, even if it's something completely niche or just something that just gets like 20 people like this, it doesn't hurt trying to create something that people will possibly enjoy. Of course, we've only just started the weekend, so I do hope everyone just enjoys this. And if there are any questions, just feel free to ask. I will try my best to answer. Any at all? Yeah?
Where exactly is the dealer's room going to be at?
Okay, if it's the same as last year, which I'm assuming it is, it's upstairs in this building. So when you go out of this hall and going towards the exit to the Roots building, you'll have these set of stairs going up.
Alright.
And you'll see a little kiosk just in the corner for where the dealer's room is. Okay, anyone else? Yeah.
What was your first convention that you went to, and what was your experience of it?
Okay, first convention was Ayacon back in 2008 maybe. I think it was kind of probably overwhelming at the time. I just didn't know what to expect, wasn't sure what I was coming into. But when you're meeting people and you're just enjoying yourself, I found it was a really enjoyable weekend, and I've been coming back to these ever since. So I think it's definitely a good sign of the impact it had on me. Okay, I don't think we've got any questions.
What's been your favourite convention so far? not a specific convention, but like maybe like I-2009 or something like that.
Well, again, probably AMI is my first convention because it was the one where I got to know what this was like. So it opened a whole world for me, and it was before. That was probably one of my favourites was because it got me into this. But then I think I probably enjoyed them just as much every time. But maybe last Ayacon, but that was when I first started to help out with it. And seeing how much work it takes to go into it, I appreciated the effort that everyone puts into it.